Yeah.
There's like there was the guys that came up with National Rape Day, right? And
What I mean, why would you? That doesn't even sound right to celebrate something like that. That doesn't even.
no, it's not right to
And
celebrate something like that. But when you
that'd be
have
like
a
Happy
more
9/11 or something. You know?
right,
Sorry about that. I had to go pick up some tacos from this place, and a friend of mine sells tacos, and I like bought a shit ton of tacos from her, and I was running late. I got off work and shit and everything. So what have you been?
tacos are always worth the wait, man.
Oh, I know. Especially these motherfuckers, man. They are fucking amazing. They're like, they're homemade. She makes them out of her house, and like they're shredded beef, and she has chicken, and she makes homemade nachos, and they're greasy as fuck, and they're just, oh my god, they're like the best fucking tacos I've ever had. They're just amazing. So, what have you been up to?
Man, just trying to get comedy going back again. Now that stuff's starting to open up.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, what? So, what's been going on with that?
I mean, they banned gatherings pretty much everywhere, and then they let places open up with like limited capacity, like limited seating.
Mm-hmm.
So we started doing some shows. It's just not where it was, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's on its way.
So like compared to like how many shows you were doing before COVID, what like how many shows are you kind of doing now in comparison to how many you were doing pre-COVID? Before March of 2020.
In the last say month, I've done like 6.
Yeah.
Which prior to COVID, it was 6 in a week sometimes.
Shit.
Rather than in a month.
So, like, how far away were you traveling usually?
It kind of all depended. I mean, I've gone as far as like Seaside, Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento, New York, North Carolina. The farthest I've gone since COVID is Harlan, Kentucky.
Shit, that's not that far. Although that would be badass to go to fucking Harlan.
Yeah, it was like 5 hours. We filled up the Harlan City Civic Center.
That's awesome, man. Who did you perform with?
It was just me.
Oh fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, that's where the real money is in headline.
So were you making like jokes about coal mining and
I didn't do any jokes about coal mining. I did do some jokes about on the way down there. There's this road, 119, I think it is. It goes off of 25 East,
yeah,
from Corbin into Harlan, and it's a beautiful road. On the left side, say if you're going into Harlan, on the left side there's like this just sheer rock face.
Oh shit.
Then on the right there's like a small river or a large creek. I never did get an answer on what it was, but
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. But they call that stretch of road the Kingdom Come Highway, which is kind of threatening,
Yeah, because like that means like you're impending doom or some shit.
Right. Exactly what it means.
Actually, I think I've been on that because I think Kingdom Come is like let me think. Kingdom Come is like, I think it's like some sort of state park, right? And it's like a string of mountains, I guess it's in the Cumberland Plateau or some shit. Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know about the state park. I wasn't paying attention to that, but it's very possible. But it's absolutely beautiful down there.
Oh yeah, man. It's really cool. Now, how do you think, like, as far as the people down there, like, how were they in terms of just, were they approachable? Were they were they pretty hospitable, or were they kind of like you're fucking outsider, you're a weird city slicker?
Well, Harlan is a lot different than it used to be. There's a lot of like sober living houses and stuff down there. and a lot of the people that were at the show were actually from those places, and most of them weren't even from there, so they felt like outsiders too. So they treated me pretty well.
Oh, that's good. That's pretty cool. Did you get to like hang out with some of them after? Like, did you like I don't know, go out to eat or some shit? Or
I didn't go out to eat because I had a long drive home. But yeah, I just drove down, did the show, drove right back.
How long did it take you to drive down there?
About 4 hours.
Damn. Yeah, I know that's a long ass drive because there's all those back windy roads. And did you go through what's the name of that county? McGuffin or something like that. Dude, there's this one. You may have driven through there. I don't know, but it's like, goddamn, the road, like it's just so narrow, and you go up the side of this mountain, and oh shit. Did you go down like any crazy narrow?
I didn't really. I took the highway most of the way down there, and then US 25 into Corbin, and then basically into Harlan.
Oh yeah. You just went straight down then. So it wasn't too bad. How long ago was that?
3 weeks ago.
Well, that's not too bad. It's really soon, or pretty recent. And now, you got any shows coming up, like currently, like?
Nothing super soon. Mm-hmm. Nothing local anyway.
Okay. What's your most recent, or the one that's the most upcoming show that you got coming?
I don't really have anything on the books local.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some stuff in like Chillicothe, and then a gig in Idaho,
mm-hmm.
which that'll be my first like actual traveling gig since COVID.
Cool. That's gonna be awesome, man. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah. I've seen lots of pictures of Idaho, but I've never been there.
Yeah, I haven't eaten. All I know is potatoes and Napoleon Dynamite. That's the only thing I know about Idaho. And meth, yeah. We always got meth. You got taters and meth. And hey, did you get a chance to see our most recent podcast video, or?
I didn't. You sent it to me, and I just haven't had time.
Okay. Well, I was going to try to get the guy on that was on that episode. I think you'd really you'd have a lot of fun with him. He's like a bisexual schizophrenic, and he talks about doing meth and crack, and talks about getting raped by a bunch of guys.
Wow.
And he said he got, and well, I don't know if and then he was kidnapped, and then he dated Obama's daughter, and he claims to have been sexually assaulted by Jason Momoa. And he said he had a 13.5-inch retard dick. I don't know what the hell that means, but he said, I don't know. I don't know. So, but you got to talk to this dude. I think you'd really hit it off with him. He's pretty fucking funny, and he's from down the mountains. He's from like down in Breathitt County. So he's down
there, man.
Yeah, it's fucking down there. It's down there. So, but well, I mean, today, I was just gonna talk about some bullshit like Bigfoot or something, and see, if you had any ridiculous commentary on it, because
I actually used to do a bit about the TV show Finding Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And I felt like they shouldn't have been allowed to name it that, because that's not what they do. Like they should have named it Walking Around in the Woods Like an Idiot. They never find anything, but they imply in the title that they do.
Yeah. And I guess you sit there for a fucking hour expecting some something, some evidence, and all you get is just a bunch of like rednecks half drunk screaming or something. Or
right, it's like that Oak Island show, man. There's like 7 seasons of that, and they never really find anything.
It's like, it's crazy that they can draw that shit out, because there's no, they draw it out, and these people know damn well that there's not going to be any, but you still draw, like, ooh, maybe they're going to find something this week, and they never fucking do, and it's just, this constant sensationalism, and they never, like, fulfill their promise of having something for you. It's like it's
Right,
bullshit,
and then
man.
that's an educational channel that's on too. That's what bothers me the most. Like that's what they consider to be educational TV.
I know. I'd hate to see if it were uneducational, if it were just for entertainment.
Dude, here's the worst. Until it was canceled, the most watched show on the Learning Channel. On the Learning Channel was Here Comes Honey Boo Boo.
That actually I don't even know what to say to that. Like why was that?
Infuriating. It's infuriating.
No, like honestly, why was it on there? Like what was the point? What are you learning?
I have no idea. I think it came from one of the pageant mom shows. Which why are those on the Learning Channel? There's no excuse for having that on the Learning Channel.
Yeah, why would you want to learn anything about that? I mean, it seems like it takes away brain cells. You actually become stupider after watching it.
Right, exactly.
I don't get it, man. I just don't. So, let's see. History of Big. Okay, I had some notes. History of Bigfoot. 1958 journalist Andrew Gonzoli of the Humboldt Times highlighted a fun, if dubious, letter from a reader about loggers in north of California who'd discovered mysterious large footprints, maybe have a relative of the abominable snowman of the Himalayas. Gonzoli jokingly wrote in his September 21st column alongside the letter. So this is like, before, I guess, 1958, like nobody knew about, or at least nobody had the term Bigfoot in their, in the psyche. It was just like some fucking hairy dude, whatever, or they said Sasquatch. If anybody, no, people didn't know about this shit. They just, and then it said later, Gonzoli said that he'd simply thought the mysterious footprints made a good Sunday morning story, but to his surprise, it really fascinated readers. So this journalist talked about these footprints that these loggers were talking. So I guess so basically the earliest in America, in terms of Western America. I mean, obviously the Native Americans knew about the shit, but in Western America, the European, the West, Anglos, white people, was from these loggers in California. So what do you think of that? What do you think of these loggers being the ones telling the story about some Bigfoot hairy dude?
Yeah, that's probably the first written, like in America. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there are, myths, from the Native Americans in the Pacific Northwest, and it's possible that, that's where that story came from. Because they don't even. Did they include any proof that like photos of them or anything?
I think it just said that they found some footprints, and this journalist was talking about the footprints that the loggers had pointed out. I don't think there was any I don't know if they were doing the plaster casting shit, yet, where they were, it was probably just they probably, I don't think they were doing that. They didn't get that sophisticated. But the loggers, I can imagine these loggers, they're fucking half drunk. They're like, everything they hear in the woods, they're sitting around a campfire. And they're like, what was that? God damn.
Right.
You know what I mean? How you're sitting around a fire. You hear some.
You get out in the darkness for a long enough time, man. You start hallucinating. That's what it is. But your mind starts playing tricks on you.
Especially after a long ass day of fucking logging. I mean, you're like, you're like, climbing up these fucking. I mean, and those goddamn trees are, out in California, man. Them motherfuckers are like, what, 100 feet or so? I mean, they're fucking up there. Or 200.
Yeah, those redwood trees are wild, man.
Yeah.
Have you ever been out there?
No, I've been to, the only part of California I've been is LA. So I haven't been to the cool part of which actually this summer we're supposed to be driving up there. We're going to drive to LA. Then we're going to drive up to San Francisco. Then we're going to drive the northern route. So we're driving the southern and the northern. So dude, I totally want to fucking see the redwoods.
Yeah, man. Go check out Big Sur and Monterey.
Yes. Dude,
absolutely gorgeous there.
But
a little farther north of that, up in Humboldt County, man, there's a documentary on Netflix.
Yeah.
Or Hulu, one of the two now, called Sasquatch, and it's about these hippies up in Humboldt County.
Yeah.
And they blamed a bunch of murders on Sasquatch, but it turns out the story wasn't related super well. and they meant it was a guy that they called Bigfoot.
I think I heard about this. Yeah, they so the whole premise of the show is like Bigfoot killed somebody, but it was actually some dude named Bigfoot.
Right. And the dude who does the documentary, like, he starts getting freaked out through it. Like, he doesn't want to stop.
Yeah.
But he definitely he becomes concerned with pressing forward.
So, like, what happens when he first finds out, oh, this is just some dude named that we call
Bigfoot? Well, here's the interesting thing. He actually was there when it happened.
Yeah.
Not, like, at the murder scene, but in the area. And he's hanging out with these hippies on this pot farm.
Oh, wait. He was there when the murder happened?
Yeah, but not like at the murder scene.
Yeah. So
up in Humboldt County, like, there's a bunch of pot farms, and there has been forever. Like, way before the state legalized it or decriminalized it. And he was up there helping with a harvest, and this dude who's, like, all tweaked out on meth shows up at the cabin that they're in, and he's like, Bigfoot just killed these two guys. And the dude just played it off as nonsense, right? Because the guy's obviously high on meth. And that's people like to make fun of Kentucky and, like, Arkansas and, like, Missouri as being, like, meth states.
Yeah.
You know? But, dude, California is overrun with it and has been for a long time. When I was staying in San Francisco, dude, meth was everywhere. Like, they used to joke that it was in the water out there.
Damn.
But, yeah, so the dude discounts it as the ravings of a methed out madman, you know, and then I guess he hears something about it, you know, 10, 20 years later, and he's like, you know what, that would be a good documentary. Maybe it did happen, and even if it didn't, you know, going to do like a film on trying to figure out whether that actually happened or not would be interesting enough, you know, for a streaming service. And but then he gets out there and he starts asking people about the myth, and he finally finds somebody that's like, yeah, but Bigfoot's not Sasquatch. Bigfoot is a man. And the guy's like, oh, well, now you have my attention. And they tracked down the guy who went by Bigfoot.
Was he? I'm assuming he was big, just a big dude.
They said he was. He would not be on camera. He did do a phone call with his voice disguised, but he wouldn't do a video.
So why did he kill these people?
I can't remember now. It had something to do with drugs, but I don't remember if they were trying to rob him or he robbed them.
Yeah, of course it has to do with drugs.
And then there was another thing that was the rumor going around from the people that knew it was a man but didn't know who it was, said that the guy's daughter had been sexually assaulted. But then when he talked to the guy that they said it was, he said he never had a daughter at that time.
So he said his daughter was sexually assaulted. Were they thinking it was by Bigfoot?
No. I feel like that would have made front page news.
That would be funny, actually. Well, no, I mean, it wouldn't be. But I mean,
telling the story would be funny because obviously it didn't happen.
Assaulted. I mean, Bigfoot. I mean, you would think, you know, somebody that or something that big would definitely have a strong sexual appetite, and you know, and I mean, it would probably see our species as being equally attractive, maybe, or similarly attractive. And you know, you talk about a Bigfoot that's like stuck up in the mountains and really hard up. You know, he might. I don't know. That's pretty crazy. But
I mean, there are people though that say that there are hundreds of Sasquatch. You know, they're just really good at hiding. And then there are people that say that Sasquatch is an alien, and then there are people that say that Sasquatch is an interdimensional being, and that's why he gets away all the time, or she gets away all the time, is because they just shift into a different dimension.
So, like, you think you could see Bigfoot if you did DMT? Like, if you were, like, because that supposedly takes you to another dimension, right?
Yeah, they call it the spirit molecule, man. I don't know. I never messed with DMT.
Well, my cousin, he did it, and I'm not going to discuss any further about that, but let's just say, well, he's done it, and he said, like, what was it? He took it, and like the world around him turned into like a grid, and then like he saw he saw himself and he looked like a big fish or something. Or God, I can't fucking remember. He's gonna get pissed. I'm misrepresenting his experience, but I don't know. It was just really fucking weird. He said it was just crazy.
Yeah, man, I've heard lots of stories about it. I watched that Joe Rogan documentary on it.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I think, some trials now with DMT. I know there's some. You got dogs barking.
That's all right.
I know there's some trials with like ketamine and ecstasy and LSD now to deal with like depression and addiction and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they say that there's some promise to the DMT stuff, man. I don't know. I'll never try it.
Would you? I was about to ask. Would you ever try it? Like if, like you were like in a safe environment and.
I mean, I've been sober for over 15 years.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. We don't want to fuck with that.
I'm not going to mess it up.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, no. Yeah, you don't want to do that shit.
It would be one thing if I was just somebody who didn't take drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To try something like that. But, like, I'm an addict. You know what I mean? And so my sobriety is very important to me, and I'm not going to throw that away. Not for a clinical trial, anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, no, I know. Yeah.
If it gets through all the clinical trials and one day it turns out I have one of the things that could be fatal to me, or suicidal, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they find that DMT actually helps, I would be willing to do that as like actual medicine rather than like an experiment.
Yeah. You don't want to experiment with it because it might, trigger something, and with your own substance, issues.
And I'll take medicine as prescribed by a doctor,
mm-hmm.
but even when I had my shoulder reconstructed, I had my entire rotator cuff reattached, my bicep repaired,
mm-hmm.
and some bone spurs shaved off, and I didn't even have the morphine during the surgery.
Damn.
And just ibuprofen afterwards.
Yeah, I honestly though, I mean, I don't blame you, and I really, kudos, man, that's awesome that you had the courage to say fuck that. I'm not even gonna attempt fate, man. Not even gonna.
Well, I mean, really, it's fear-based more than courage-based.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, sometimes courage and fear kind of go hand in hand. You know what I mean? It's like courage is like basically, okay, if I don't do this, something worse is going to happen, right? You know, if I don't charge that bear that's coming at me in the woods, then it's just going to fucking sit there and eat me up anyway. So, I mean, you really don't have much of a choice, in that situation. But, there are other things you can do other than DMT to get the similar experiences, like fucking like astral projecting, and which I tried that once, like where you just lie down, because me, I don't do drugs or anything, but I was lying down, I was sleeping, and I got into this trance, and I felt my astral body come out of my body because I was trying some experiments, and like literally I came out of my body. It was fucking insane. And I want to do it. I want to do it again because it was really cool. Of course, I started getting into like some ritual shit, like ritual magic and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and you see my Facebook posts and stuff, and I talk.
Yeah, I used to work at Procter & Gamble's Healthcare Research Center, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the doctors up there, they had all these different kinds of like de-stressing rooms.
Yeah.
And one of the things in one of those rooms was a sensory deprivation tank.
Ooh.
And that's one of the things that people use for astral projection a lot.
Oh, man. Now where was that? It's up in, I guess they still have it, right?
Up in Mason.
Up in Mason, yeah. Man, I'd love to get hooked up with that thing, man. That'd be fucking
That's
awesome.
Back when I was like 18, 19. Before I caught my felony convictions.
Yeah.
But that was such a weird place, man, because it's the Healthcare Research Center. It's where they have all the labs where they do like animal testing and stuff.
Yeah.
And, when you walk in the front of the place, there's all these labs, right? It's like you walk in the front door and then there's this big hallway, and lining both sides of it are these labs and like doctors in lab coats, right?
Yeah.
So it's all fake. Or at least it was then. It was all actors just making people think that that's where the science was being done.
Yeah.
All the labs were actually like underground. There's like a bunch of hallways, probably half a mile of hallways.
Damn. So they kind of psych you out, and they put those lab coats on to make you think, because they're trying to get you in a psychological sort of state. You know what I mean? They're trying to.
Well, it's PR, man. They want you to walk in and see them not like working in labs, but not doing any animal testing.
Yeah. Yeah, because of PETA and all these other organizations that really, if they're sort of the 50s, they wouldn't care, but nowadays, you can't get away with any animal testing and shit like that.
Yeah, that would have been like 98, 99.
Yeah, they don't fuck around, man. They definitely don't fuck around shit like that.
It was an interesting time in my life, man, because like I'm an actively using heroin and cocaine addict, and I'm working with these chemists and research scientists and stuff, man, like setting up their computers and doing troubleshooting when they had issues, because they had offices in Blue Ash, and then they were moving to this big center that they have up in Mason. And so we would go in and we would move everything, set everything up, and then do troubleshooting as they reconnected to all their virtual networks. And like I'm going into the bathroom and shooting heroin. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Shoot, man, that is crazy. Now, obviously you were pretty good at hiding it, so they didn't know.
I was then, and not only that, but they, in a place like that, when you're a contractor, like they expect you to be vetted pretty well by the agency.
Yeah, they didn't.
They didn't drug test us or nothing, man. As long as you didn't have felony convictions and you could pass their tests, like they would give you technical tests, like on how stuff works, and as long as you could pass those, man, you could work there.
Dude, isn't it crazy? Like I've noticed this. Isn't it crazy that the lower level jobs, they drug test the fuck out of you, but if you get these higher level jobs, it's like you don't get any drug tests. You don't. I mean, it's like you could be a fucking maniac, meth head or whatever, and they wouldn't know because they just don't. They don't do drug testing on higher level jobs.
Right, and part of that is they, they don't expect people that go for those jobs to be drug addicts.
Yeah, but I mean, although, and I don't know, I don't have the stats on this, but from what I understand, there are a lot of people that are in the middle class, upper middle class, that have serious drug abuse issues.
Yeah, for sure. The thing is, though, a lot of it is it's looked at differently because a lot of that is like prescription drug abuse.
Yeah.
Especially stuff like Xanax and Valium. They don't even think it's an issue, And then cocaine has always been glamorized. Heroin is a dirty drug. Cocaine is the rich and famous do it.
Yeah.
So I think that is probably part of it. But it was, dude, I was high all the time there. I worked for Cincinnati Bell when Zoomtown first became a thing. I was like one of their tier 2 technicians, and man, I was copping, like I was buying dope like on property. My dude would come and meet me right in front of the building, and then dude, I would get so high that I would like basically fall asleep. Like I would catch a nod, like in the middle of help desk calls.
Jesus.
And then like the person would like say something loud and it would bring me to, and I'd be like, hey, we must have dropped connection there for a minute. Sorry about that.
Oh, my bad. I was kind of nodding out. No, I wasn't nodding out. No. Jeez, dude. So like, so I mean, for the most part, you were able to do your job, but every once in a while, like shit like that, you'd start nodding out or whatever, and you would just, I guess, play it off as, I just didn't get enough sleep last night, or I'm really tired. I was up late last night watching a movie or some shit or whatever, and just kind of play it off like that.
They might have just known because nobody ever really called me on it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But I was good enough at my job to where people just didn't care.
Yeah, he's getting his job done. Fuck it, right? Just, wow. That's insane, man. That's cool that you're out of that. That's awesome. So young too, man. 18.
Like I had great jobs, like as an active drug addict, but now it's like McDonald's doesn't want to hire me.
I mean, think of the irony. You're way younger then, so when you're younger, typically it's harder to get a good job because you don't have experience. But it's like the opposite with you. You had all these really great job opportunities when you were younger. And now, when you get older and you're clean, sober, more experienced, they don't want to talk to you. Of course, a lot of that could have to do with the job market, though, too, because the job market's kind of shitty and stuff.
Right. Well, since when I first got sober, I did get one tech job at this place in Withamsville, Ohio, over by Amelia, called Byte Hosting.
Yeah.
And basically, we were supporting malware. It was, if you look it up, the dude who ran the place, his name was James Reno.
Mm-hmm.
But he and some Russian gangster dudes ran this fake antivirus software.
Jesus Christ.
And it would lock your computer up if you didn't pay for it. And it was called WinFixer. If you Google it, you'll find it.
Dude, that's such a fucking scam, dude. That's oh man, that's hilarious.
But he didn't advertise it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He advertised the job like it was like a legit tech support job.
Yeah.
And, dude, I was there for, 6 or 7 hours before I actually got put on the job. And I'm reading all these technical papers about how it's the third-party marketing is what screwed it up.
Yeah.
And basically our job was to support the software, right? But I never even got training on supporting the software, right? It was all the training I got was on removing the software from people who directly do it. And,
which is the blackmail part.
Right. And I ended up quitting a week and a half before the FBI kicked the doors in.
That's good.
It was a weird thing, man, because so we had this global chat, right? So, we've got people in America, we've got people in Ukraine, people in Russia, and people in Venezuela. And all the people outside of all the people in the U.S. had names like James and Jay and Stephanie and Tara.
Yeah.
And all the people outside of the country had names like Viper and Venom and these ridiculous movie-style gangster names. And,
Code Blue.
Oh, dude, it was ridiculous. I just Viper and Snake, and they were all predator animal names.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
The first day I saw that, I was like, "That's weird." But I knew something was shady on the first day. Before I left on the first day, because every single person that called in, because I did 1 hour of taking calls before I left after reading all the stuff and watching the videos. And no one, it was always the same issue. I don't remember installing this. I never asked for this. What do I do to get rid of it? Right? And it was every single call for an hour straight. And I was just like, something is going on here.
It's are we getting...
But then I had this weird thing. So, by the middle of day 2, I had been in the global chat. And, I see all these predator names and... I hear James, talking to these Ukrainian dudes, and I knew by the end of day 2, this is malware. This is it. This is the call center for the malware place. And but I was pretty good at getting people's computers working again.
Yeah.
So I had this weird dilemma. Do I quit so that I'm not a part of this organization, or do I stay here and help people who have become victims? You know what I mean?
By the same company.
We could get it off of there without you paying for it.
Yeah.
And eventually it just got to the point where I was like, I just can't do it. And even though I was helping people, I just didn't want to be involved. And the FBI arrested James, kicked the doors in, arrested James, took everything, took all the computers, took all the hard drives, took everything.
Now, would you have been arrested, you think?
I probably would have been at least detained and talked to about it. But I feel like any customers because we kept logs of who called and who answered the call, just like any help desk would.
Yeah.
And I feel like them going through my calls and my resolutions, they probably would have seen me not as an accomplice, but as someone trying to fix the damage, which is what I was.
Yeah. And kind of not really an accomplice, but just guy wanting a job, and and you're just trying to help, I guess, these people or whatever, and hopefully they wouldn't see you as being a part of that, agent organization or whatever. But
you never know with the feds, though, man. You never know. I mean, they could have seen me as a co-conspirator.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
At the very least, an overzealous prosecutor. Even if they didn't see me that way, they could have painted me that way.
So
which is really all that matters.
So how bad? Like, what happened to him? Like, what did he get? Like, what kind of
I looked
punishment?
him up the other day, and because we drove by there.
Yeah.
So my wife and I looked it up, and it mentioned his arrest, but I don't recall it saying what he was sentenced to.
Oh man, that's crazy. I wonder if he's still in jail.
I have no idea. I mean, the feds don't really have that information out there. Like,
yeah,
in the state of Kentucky, you can see every inmate that's locked up.
Yeah.
But with the feds, they keep stuff a little more hush hush.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I understand that. Hey, at least it wasn't like one of those organizations that like I guess connect to your what is it, your webcam, and like that it's connected to porn and like catches you whacking off and then says either you give us $2,000 or we're gonna send this to your family, or one of those. I've heard of those before. Yeah, really?
Yeah, a friend of mine from Ohio who's a comedian.
Yeah.
And, he does a bit about it on stage, or he did. I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but yeah, they wanted $10,000. It was an organization out of the Philippines.
Oh, dude, that is so fun. Did they really have the video, or were they just bullshitting?
No, they had the video, because a lot of times they'll actually have a chick like get you to do it.
Oh, okay. So it's live. It's one of those live.
And so they screen recorded it, and I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't care. I'd be like, you go ahead, rent out a billboard up in Times Square. I don't care. I mean, you're not getting nothing out of me.
Exactly. Like, well, I'm a guy. I do that shit. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's more of a punishment to the people that have to see it than it is to me.
So did he end up? How did he resolve that?
I believe he paid him.
Jesus, fuck, man, $10,000, fuck, man. I don't know.
I don't know that he gave him all $10,000. I think he may have negotiated a smaller amount, but I believe he did give them something.
Jesus Christ, man, that's devastating. Hey, speaking of that, you're probably you heard about Dave Ellefson from Megadeth, right? You hear about all that shit that's going on with him?
I did, yeah, and I'm not entirely sure that I even understand why people have a problem with it.
I don't either. I'm like kind of confused about it myself. But I was just kind of wondering, like, what do you think about Dave Mustaine being all, kicking him out of the band? And I think he even deleted, from what I understand, he deleted all his bass tracks on this new album. And it's just like,
Dave is a dude. I don't know what's up with Dave anymore. He became like a super hardcore Jesus freak for a while.
Yeah. And, which I think he still is, right?
Maybe he hasn't announced it, but I haven't heard him talk about it like he used to either.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know when I walked away from the church, there was a long time where I just stopped talking about it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you probably remember. I mean, we talked about Christian authors and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like 10 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I walked away from the church, I just stopped talking about spiritual things altogether.
Yeah.
And now I speak out against organized religion on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah. Now you're more outspoken about it. Before you were just kind of like, I don't know about this.
Well, you get disillusioned. You know what I mean? You're disheartened. And you still want to believe what you believe.
Yeah.
But that people that you were dealing with were just not good people. And then you get to the point where you kind of are looking for that kind, where religions and religious organizations are trying to take advantage of people or control people or manipulate people. And then it's like, oh, it's all like this.
Yeah, it's like devastating when you find that. Well, I think like Dave Ellefson, if I'm not mistaken, Dave Ellefson was a pastor or something. I'd read somewhere that he was a minister, like, and so that there's that whole element, like he was married, and then like he's whacking off to some 19-year-old, and I guess it was some revenge porn issue where they had the video of it.
I don't know who got the video. She said she didn't release it. she was out there defending him.
Yeah, she was defending him. So, but I guess she must have showed it to one of her friends, and one of her friends like, "Ooh, I'm gonna fuck him up," or for some reason, I don't know why, but just for the lulls, I guess. I mean, some people just do it just for the lulls. They just don't even it's not like because they care or they hate this person or dislike them or even, whatever, or for money. They just do it just to fuck somebody up. But
the thing that bothers me is that it was completely consensual. Both people were adults, regardless of an age difference. They were both adults. And what's the point of having consent laws and age of consent laws if you're still going to destroy people who follow them?
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't make sense, does it? I mean, because even still I think one of the claims was he was grooming her because evidently he was her friend or something when she was 17. But I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that he was, saying, "Hey, when you turn 18, I'm gonna interact with you in a sexual way." I don't know. I don't think there's any evidence, or at least that I know of.
She claimed, from what I read, that he never said anything inappropriate to her at all before she was an adult.
Yeah.
And she actually pursued him. That's what I read. And I mean, it just seems crazy that it even became an issue.
Well, it is.
I think Dave made it an issue because he was terrified of it looking bad on him.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what happened.
And what happened to metal? Because you go back to the 70s, you look at Led Zeppelin, the Mud Shark incident with, you heard about that, right? The Mud Shark incident with Jimmy Page and the dudes from Vanilla Fudge, and they evidently had they sexually assaulted a woman with a mud shark, and it was Jimmy Page, maybe someone else from Led Zeppelin, the guys from Vanilla Fudge back in the 70s. And I mean, but the point is, I mean, they were doing shit like that all the time. It's like, it's rock, and then metal.
I mean, look at that Nugent, man.
Yeah.
Nugent tried to buy a 17-year-old.
Oh, I know.
Her family.
I know, and he's not been canceled. Nobody's saying anything, about him well, the crazy thing is, here's what I understand. Sexual or whatever is one thing, but Dave, I guess he wants to have a squeaky clean, sort of, persona now. But the thing is they're fucking called Megadeth. They're named after killing massive people, and then they had songs back in their first couple albums, they have a song called "Paint a Devil on the Wall" and "The Conjure." I mean, they were fucking talking about conjuring up Satan, and what I mean. And it's just and now you're worried about this? Are you kidding? What the fuck happened to metal, man? Metal, they didn't give a fuck. They were talking about gouging people. Look at Cannibal Corpse lyrics. I mean, I cum blood, and it's just
right. That dude wigged out, man, and they had they were upset that the dude had a flamethrower. Man, do you listen to any of the lyrics?
I know.
Why would you be surprised that dude has a flamethrower?
Exactly. I know it's yeah, and he's from here. I've talked to him several times. Pat O'Brien. He's
Erlanger, I think, right?
Yeah, he's from Erlanger. He used to give guitar lessons up here. A friend of mine used to take guitar lessons from him back in the day. But yeah, I mean, it's just they've made metal so fucking, sanitized, and then you got, they're worried about this, and it's I don't understand. Why don't you just change your name? You're not the same. It's not the same brand. You're not trying to kill lots of people. You're not, celebrating evil and destruction and devastation. You did originally, but now you've backpedaled on that. You're sold out.
To Arizona, man, like Axl Rose did.
Yeah.
And instead of finding a new age Yoda,
oh God,
found Jesus. And well, man, I'll say this: Dave's been through a lot in his life, man.
Yeah.
And trauma affects people.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just last year, or the year before that, he had the throat cancer.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I mean, the dude he's a drug addict and an alcoholic who's been sober forever.
Yeah.
And typically it's trauma that takes you there, you know. So he had all the songs that he wrote stolen by a band who was way more successful than he was.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah,
Like
that's
the dude's
yeah.
been through a lot. So.
And he was thrown out of a band that like people joke around and call him Alcoholica. Like I had a friend used to call him Alcoholica. He was thrown out of a band because of his alcohol addiction. These are dudes that were fucking smashing that shit every night. So you know he had to be like had some serious issues if they threw him out because of alcohol.
I think it was the heroin that bothered the other guys.
Oh, well, was it the heroin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They were drunks, but a drunk will look down at a junkie from the gutter.
Oh yeah, like well, at least I ain't doing that shit. I might be puking up, but you know I'm not, you know, fucking shooting up. You know, yeah, right. that makes kind of sense, I guess. You know, but yeah, his over moralizing. It just if he wants to do that, that's cool. But he needs to just change the name, change the style of music or what, you know, just and not even do the same shit because, you know, you look at their first few albums, they're all about death, destruction, murder, Satan, you know, all this evil stuff, and that's what people wanted. You know, that's what, you know, people wanted that sort of outlet. Not saying that people necessarily worship Satan. But like, you know, when you listen to interviews with the guys from Ghost, the way they talk about it, they're not necessarily Satan worshipers per se. I mean, they kind of believe in the dark and the macabre aspect of reality, but they say that it's kind of like it's a playing out. You know, it's exploring. It's not necessarily being I'm a devil worshiper and I sacrifice goats and people, but it's this playing out. It's this sort of cathartic sort of, you know, just getting out this evil from within you because we all have it within us. So it's, you know, and I think there's nothing wrong with that, you know, that aspect of it. It just seems like everybody's so fucking sensitive about stuff anymore, and you know.
Well, it's weird what people are sensitive about too, because you know it shifts. You know, people always want to be sensitive about something.
Yeah.
You know, you can be openly satanic now and nobody cares.
Yeah.
You know, but in like the 80s and 90s, man, people freaked out about it.
Yeah.
You know, people went to prison over these fake repressed memories of Satan worship and molestation in like schools and daycares.
Yeah.
And it becomes a moral panic.
Yeah.
Right? And moral panic, like the way that it sounds, you typically think it's conservative people going after, you know, your what's the word I'm looking for?
Your time. Yeah.
But I mean, it's not necessarily that. You know, I don't want this to come across in a way that I don't mean it. But now you have like all the people that are constantly looking for anything, you know, that could be sexual harassment or sexual assault, and the moral panic part of it isn't victims speaking out because we want that. You know what I mean? We want victims to speak out. We want people held accountable for what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
But some of what's happening now is not that. It's people like Dave Mustaine overreacting to something that is not the same thing. You know what I mean? It's not. From what I read, obviously I didn't see any videos. I only speak about, you know, the information that I have. But it seems like Dave Ellison didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. You know, people are overreacting in the same way that people did about satanic music in the 80s. Yeah. And the thing that's weird about the satanic music in the 80s thing is, like, if you go back to the 50s and 60s, like, the Rat Pack dudes hung out with Anton LaVey. Yeah. You know, there's actual photographs of Sammy Davis Jr. hanging out with Anton.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And everybody's grandmother was listening to Sammy Davis, and you know.
And the music that Anton LaVey made was terrible. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's like 1940s like bop music, like Honolulu Baby. Like that was one of the songs that Anton recorded.
Oh my God! I think I want to say I've heard it. The only satanic music I heard from that era, like from the '60s, was this band called Coven. Have you ever heard of them?
I've heard Coven.
Coven, yeah, and they're actually pretty fucking cool. But Anton LaVey, I think I heard some. It's not impressive.
It's terrible. It's him in an organ.
Yeah, the organ. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He can't sing at all. All the songs are like traditional American standards.
And it's like, this is Satanism? I mean, you're expecting some rock or, something, offensive
right.
for the time.
It's not as bad as the Charlie Manson music.
Oh, God, that's the worst.
Oh, dude, it's so bad.
Yeah, I could see why the dude from the Beach Boys was like, fuck you, I'm not producing your music. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it was garbage.
He was not good at all. But the thing is with what's going on now with the sexual harassment cases and all that stuff, and how it's sort of you have this whole rape culture and all that sort of thing. Like on that side, that's the boogeyman now. The boogeyman in the 80s was the satanic, the satanic figures. But it was way cooler to be a fucking Satanist back then because you had power. Now, but to be a sexual deviant, it's like almost an embarrassment. It's like, you see what I'm saying? Like you almost like literally. It'd be better if you were a murderer, if you were a serial killer, than a sexual.
Right.
Like it would be better than be a sexual harasser. You'd be better to be a murderer. Like, I mean, with all the serial killer shit, I mean, people love murderers.
Right, but here's the other side of that though. People who commit actual sexual assault. I'm not talking about the guy who's not attractive, who, tells his coworker she's beautiful, and ends up in HR over it.
Yeah. Just like kind of creepy advances.
Right, yeah, not just generally creepy dudes, but dudes that actually commit real sexual assault. That is worse than murder, in my opinion, because a human being has to suffer that for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Like I said before, trauma will fuck you up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's not, the crime may only happen once, but the effects are long lasting. So from that standpoint, I actually am fine with a rapist, a real sexual assaulter, being treated worse than a murderer.
But the question is that's not, those real instances aren't as prevalent as as just the creepy dude. Like, and the problem is they put the creepy dude on the same level as the person that's literally physically just assaulting somebody and just what I mean, and that's, I think there's a huge difference between someone who's just kind of creepy, they're just putting their feelers out there, and trying to get some pussy, as opposed to somebody who's literally physically assaulting or just a piece of shit.
Now, if you become, like, if you refuse to give up after you've been told no, then, there should be, you have to deal with the consequences of that.
Yeah, but doing that's a huge difference than just somebody being creepy. Like somebody who just like, no, I won't, and then they just keep advancing. I mean, that's fucking rape, But if it's somebody who's just like, ooh, you look nice today. Fuck you, you can't say that. I'm going to HR, and then then even though you're not like legally labeled as a sexual a sexual what's the term, sexual predator offender, yeah, sexual offender, even though you're kind of given that stigma, like, oh, he's some weird pervert, which is going to be the same way with Dave Ellefson. He's going to be sort of living with that,
Right, because people aren't going to look into what actually happened. They're just going to remember that something happened.
And they just give him that label. Oh, he's a sexual predator. And they just label, and it's like, they label everybody that, and there's you can't, not even legally you can say that.
The thing about moral panic that makes it worse, right, is people want to feel like they are helping.
Yeah.
Right? So with a case like Dave Ellefson, or other stuff like that, just the creepy guy who's not, he doesn't have the social skills to not come off as creepy.
Yeah.
It's not dangerous to go after that guy.
Yeah.
Right? So you can go after him free of consequence and not have to, and you get to feel like you're helping.
It's low-lying fruit.
Right, and it's almost like, man, I know a dude who committed a forcible rape, and I didn't know at the time that he had done that. He had done it in another city.
Yeah.
And apparently, someone from that city contacted some people in a certain social scene here, and the people that they contacted were the guy's friends.
Yeah.
Now, these people are all people who scream and yell about sexual assault and how terrible it is, and people need to be canceled. But when it was their friend, they were quiet about it. It wasn't until someone else from that same other city came to town and was like, "Hey, why is this guy still here?" And they were all like, "Well, we had no idea." And then I came to find out later that they all knew. They actually had a meeting about it, and they decided not to go after that guy anyway. But if you say something that's not acceptable on the internet, they will just trash you forever because you're not in their social circle. You're not their friend. And it's something that they can go after you for without it being any pushback. Any pushback against it is seen as an assault in and of itself.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that a moral panic does is it creates the opposite. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So it creates more misogynistic, more hateful stuff from people on that other end of the spectrum that think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's there was the guys that came up with National Rape Day, right? And
what, I mean, why would you? That doesn't even sound right to celebrate something like that. That doesn't even.
No, it's not right to celebrate something like that. But when you
that'd be like Happy 9/11 or something.
Right.
It doesn't sound.
You had pro-terrorism people here in America after that.
Yeah.
You always create that people that just want to rebel against whatever is the main topic issue of the day, even if they don't really rebel, like they don't disagree with it. They're going to for the attention, to ruffle people's feathers, and create that kind of thing. The thing about the National Rape Day, that when I first saw it, I was like, man, they named that poorly, right? Because I just assumed it was like an anti-rape day.
Yeah.
Right? I just assumed that because it is insane to celebrate sexual assault.
Yeah. It's like the Purge or something.
And then later, like a few days later, somebody says something about it, and I was like, yeah, I can't believe they named it that. And they were like, well, that's what they're supporting. And I was like, no. Like, that's impossible. And then I went and looked it up, man, and sure enough, and they said they meant it as a joke, and maybe they did, but, you get a lot of people on the internet, man, it's unrestricted,
Yeah.
You're reaching people who don't have the mental wherewithal to differentiate between a joke and say you're already... you're already a deviant, but you don't have the courage to follow through with your evil. Evil's not even, I don't even think the right word.
Yeah.
Your
impulses.
Your predatory impulses.
Yeah.
You see these dudes come up with a holiday celebrating sexual assault, and you're like, oh, there are more people like me that want to do what I do. That means it's okay.
It's normalizing it, yeah.
Right, it's normalizing it. It's exactly what it is. So maybe those dudes did make it as a joke, but that doesn't mean that there weren't negative consequences from that quote-unquote joke from those guys.
That almost sounds like you're like 4chan, which I love 4chan, fucking hilarious. But there have been instances where, they encouraged, well, like what's his name, Holmes, the guy who killed all the people in the theater, right? I think they were. Like he was actually posting stuff on 4chan about how he was going to shoot a bunch of people up, and on 4chan they don't give it. They were like, "Yeah, do it, faggot." What I mean? And they're just like,
"Yeah, I bet you won't, pussy."
Yeah, exactly. They were saying stuff like that, and he did it. And not just that. I think that one dude that was the incel guy that shot up a bunch of people. I can't think of his name. But like some incel dude, and he was on a 4chan or two, and I think he was doing the same thing, and they were doing that like, yeah, fuck you, pussy, you won't do it, or they would tell him, they like, yeah, do it, post pictures, and because you get so many people that get on there just are trolling, and they'll say they're doing stuff like that, and you can't distinguish between the authentic ones and the ones that are just, just laughing about it, so. Yeah,
and that's especially true on 4chan because it's all anonymous.
It's all anonymous, yeah. God, I mean, you don't know if some of that. I mean, you'll see people post videos and you can't tell if they're real. I've seen some of the most horrific things I've ever seen in my life, like a wrecked. In fact, don't ever go on there and look up a wrecked thread, REKT. Don't ever do it, because it will fuck you up for life. I think the worst thing I saw some dude, he was captured by by some cartel, and he was a member this was in Mexico, and he was a member of like a competing cartel, the other cartel, and they stripped him naked. I mean, I can't believe this. He was completely naked. They had a machete and they were pulling his leg out and they were chopping. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching this. But they
pretty raw shit on 4chan.
Yeah, it'd fuck you up, man. The stuff you see.
Around in Flash B. That's
yeah, exactly. B, yeah. I go there just to look up some really funny memes because I'll find some funny memes. But you have to sift through a lot of especially porn. They have a lot of porn and stuff like that. Just and a bunch of stupid stuff and racist shit. But once you get through it, there are a couple good memes. So you just got to sift through some stuff. But I wouldn't recommend anybody necessarily unless you're got a strong stomach and can sort of ignore that stuff.
Right. So on 4chan, mainly what I look at is /biz and /Paul. It's just what my favorite thing about /biz is it's almost all crypto stuff now, right? All cryptocurrency stuff.
Yeah, like Dogecoin and.
Right. Well, people will come in to like advertise the coin that they like, man, and just get destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, people never heard of it. People don't care about it. But they act like it's the most terrible thing in the world, and they call the dude all kinds of terrible names. But yeah, it's well,
like some of
it is not for the faint of heart.
Well, what are some of the craziest cryptocurrencies you've seen? Because I swear I think they made one for what's that one? God, it's ridiculous. I can't think of her name right now. The one singer, she always talks about breakups. She's a pop singer and country singer.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. If I'm not, am I right or wrong? I don't know if I'm right about this, but if I'm not mistaken, they made a cryptocurrency with her face on it, but I might be wrong.
It's possible, but she probably would have sent a cease and desist order.
Oh, okay.
The craziest coin that I've seen is probably Cum Rocket.
CUM Rocket.
For it is Cummies.
Yeah.
CUMMIES.
Oh shit, that's funny. That's actually.
There's some pretty wild stuff out there. You can just create it. You know what I mean? If you know how to write the code.
Yeah.
You can do layer 2 Ethereum coins. You can do Matic coins. You can do Binance Smart Chain coins. Super easy and it's cheap. It's like a couple $100. You can have it listed on like Uniswap or PancakeSwap. Which people get rugs pulled from them all the time, man. I mean, I lost some money on a meme coin, and I'm still waiting for it to go back up. I'm still holding on to those coins, hoping that one day something happens. But
I guess people are trading those coins. I mean, they're trading and they're buying into those coins, and you just gotta hope that more people are buying into them, and it's imbuing it with value. Because I know like Dogecoin's been like on a roller coaster, it goes up and it goes down. And I think it's just best to just hold out. I mean, just, instead of going in for the short term, unless you're, because I don't know if there's any, you'd have to be a fucking genius to, even a genius wouldn't be able to tell,
The day trading stuff on it is basically gambling.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So what you need to look for is a coin, with legitimate use case. You know what I mean? Something that has a real utility. Which I used to just buy coins and hold them, but now I don't have anything held. I have everything staked, right? Like you put it up as collateral for other people to lend, to buy, to leverage, and you get rewards out of that. The main coin that I'm in is called Delta, which those guys are creating their own decentralized exchange where people can do loans, where people can do options trading and margins and stuff like longs and shorts, but it be completely decentralized. Like you can do all that stuff on like KuCoin or like Binance.
Yeah.
But that's controlled by a person.
Yeah.
Where a decentralized exchange is nothing changes without a DAO vote, right? So like the users decide what happens. The users decide what's available.
It's democratized, kind of.
It is. It's community driven. It's democratized. And what's important about Delta is that the guys that created it are completely anonymous. Like they've never been doxxed. Nobody knows who they are.
That's awesome.
So when the SEC gives its ruling and says decentralized finance is illegal, what are you going to do? It doesn't exist in America. It exists on the blockchain.
Yeah.
So you want to go after the creators? Good luck finding out who they are.
Exactly.
So it will still be there. It'll still be available. So like I have 10 of their, they call them rebasing liquidity pool tokens, and I have them staked. And all I care about is getting the rewards from it. The other ones that I have staked is a coin called Multivac, which the call sign for that is MTV. They're a decentralized coin, but they're creating their own entire mainnet. But you kind of have to dig into what crypto is and how it works to know what a mainnet is. But they're basically going to be running their entire own ecosystem, like where other coins can be created, like Ethereum or Matic or Layer 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I have those staked. It's about creating value rather than it is trying to create, a quick buck. It's just like day trading with stocks.
Yeah,
If you don't really believe in the company, all you're doing is gambling.
Yeah.
And that I have no interest in that these days. I've lost enough money to that.
Yeah. Dude, you know a lot about this cryptocurrency, because I don't. Dude, that's fucking awesome. You know so much about it, and I think it's great. I think decentralized baking is just great. I think. I mean, I'm big on decentralizing everything. I mean, I personally, I was looking into, which I don't know how I would do this, and I don't know what you think about this, but I was looking into creating an app. I'm getting someone to create the app. It was just an idea I had. Getting an app that searches only local businesses, local services, because the way I look at it, when you get on the internet, it should be much like you walk outside your fucking house. You should have to go through your local community first before you go into the larger world. So I think it would be really important to, for people to first look at local services, local businesses, local news. Because I mean, just a couple blocks. It's about, I think, a few months ago. Just a few blocks away, somebody was murdered. Fucking, I didn't even know about this. I didn't hear about it on the news. It was just a few blocks away, but I hear about every time fucking Biden sneezes. So that's fucking ridiculous. We should be more concerned with what's going on in our communities. You know what I mean? Than what's going on in fuck Washington. I mean, I would just like to walk away from the whole thing. The world is just too big for me to handle or me to manage. But I can manage my own backyard. We need to get back to local, and people feel, I think, more useful when they're, working together in a community. You feel more useful. If you try to throw yourself into the pail of the entire world, you're going to feel useless because you're not making an impact. If you're a small little fish in this huge ocean, you're fucking useless. You're pointless. But if you're in a smaller pond with other people, you see the tangible effects of what you do. So I thought it would be cool to do that where, we're more engaged locally instead of, thrown into the world, and we don't really know what's going on, and we're not really being useful. I don't.
There's an app. I think it's called Neighborhood that's kind of like that now.
Okay.
Hey, Amber. My wife has had that app, I think, for a minute. It's kind of almost like a nosy neighbor app.
Yeah.
But you just talk about basically what's going on in your neighborhood.
I mean, dude, I think we all should have that. I would if I Google pair of shoes, why the fuck should Amazon come up? Why not Billy Bob's, local trading post, or you know what I mean, and where you can buy shoes through him instead of sending the money to fucking Jeff Bezos, who's sucking wealth out of communities. Fuck him. I want to help the local guy. I don't want to help him. So I think most people are like that. Most people want to help or want their money to stay in their community instead of going to to Silicon Valley or to Washington, D.C. or to China,
Right.
That's just the way I see it. You know what I mean? So
100%.
I just like to see everything decentralized and everything. So, but, let's see. Go back to Bigfoot. We'll talk about that. I know we've been talking about everything else. Let's see. I saw sightings. About 1/3 of all claims of Bigfoot sightings are located in the Pacific Northwest. That's an interesting statistic. 1/3 of all of them, right? And most reports are considered mistakes or hoaxes, even by those researched who say that Bigfoot exists. So sightings predominantly occur in the northwestern region of Washington, Oregon, Northern California, and British Columbia. And other prominent areas of sightings include the Great Lakes. So the Great Lakes have some too, and I guess they like the big woods. I guess they like to be in areas where it's just, and the biggest sighting was the let me look that up. What? Oh, okay. I think the biggest sighting was that. What's the one? The Patterson video. I'm trying to look that up. You know that one, right? That's the
Patterson
most...
Gimlet, maybe.
Yep, yeah, Gimli or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't find it on my. Oh yeah, the Patterson Gimlin film is an American short motion picture of an unidentified subject, which the filmmakers have said was Bigfoot. The footage was shot in 1967 in Northern California. Has since been subjected to many attempts to authenticate or debunk it. And the footage was filmed alongside Bluff Creek, a tributary of the Klamath River. So basically, a lot of people say that footage has been really difficult to debunk because it doesn't look like someone in a suit. I mean, according to,
In that, the Netflix, or is it either Netflix or Hulu, I forget, that Sasquatch about the pot farm Sasquatch murders.
Yeah.
There's a dude who actually claims to be the man who wore the suit in that video.
Oh, really? Well,
he's a guy that knew, I think, Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys who made the video say that he's lying and he just wants attention.
Oh,
which
really?
Is what they would say either way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't really draw any conclusion from it at all.
Yeah, and because you hear on the one end, supposedly, that some experts, quote unquote experts, so I'm not even going to go there because I don't know enough about it, but some quote unquote experts of anatomy and of whatever say that the way that the movement of the creature, the movements that the creature makes look like it's not some loose suit, but it's actually like tendons and muscles moving along, and
right.
And it looks like a skeletal structure that is commensurate with the body or the suit that's the structure that is moving. It doesn't look like it's somebody in a suit. It looks like it's literally a creature that has hair coming out of its skin or whatever. So that I don't know though. I don't know. That might be just some bullshit claim, but it's interesting. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess somebody'd have to, but it is weird that there are a lot of sightings there.
I mean, it's places where there's a lot of cover,
mm-hmm.
and it's not heavily populated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there is something out there, that's where it would be.
So, what do you think of the interdimensional claim that it's an interdimensional being that's jumping in and out of?
I feel like if there really are interdimensional beings,
yeah,
the thought that you could do that with technology.
Yeah.
Is one thing. The thought that you could just do it like through magic, seems different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
I believe in science.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in being able to will myself into a different dimension.
Yeah,
so I can't imagine that an ape man could do it either.
Yeah, well, especially if he's not as intelligent as the human species. It seems like he'd be even less capable.
You would think so, yeah.
I would think, unless he has some sort of instinctive ability that he evolved with that we don't have, that he's not thinking about, he's just doing. It's like walking. He just does something in his brain instinctively. He's not thinking about it. He's just some capability he has that he could just snap in. And I don't know. I mean, that's pretty far-fetched to think that, but I don't know.
And here's the thing about a Bigfoot. For me, we've never found a skeleton.
Yeah, and that's always been my big thing. It's like they've never found a body. They've never found any hair samples of anything that is conclusive. Because usually when it's a hair sample, it's like, oh, it's just a fucking dog, or oh, it's just a bear. You know what I mean? It's never.
Well, there's been a bunch of hair samples that were inconclusive that they could not identify.
Okay.
So I don't know that is proof against. And here's the thing about proving that Bigfoot doesn't exist is that it's impossible to prove a negative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't prove that God's not real.
Yeah.
I can tell you the things that make me think that.
Yeah.
You know, you can't prove that aliens don't exist.
Yeah.
You can't prove that something's not out there somewhere. You know, there were people that swore up and down the giant squid didn't exist until they found it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. And the coelacanth, that was another one, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so Bigfoot might be real, but I feel like we would have found a body or a skeleton or something.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree. It's like if there was this the species that was existing, like every species that exists now, we have in the fossil record. You know, we can see it developing over time, over millions of years, but we don't see any species like Bigfoot. So, you know, in the fossil record, we don't find, you know, bones. We don't find, you know, any specimens. So it would have to be alien or interdimensional, because they're not. If there are a bunch of dead Bigfoot around, they have to be on another planet or another dimension. They're not here. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not.
Right.
We're not seeing them here. So, I mean, me personally, I think it's just, most of the time, I think it's just people who are seeing something else and they think it's, you know what I mean? Like they saw a bear or they saw and they just thought it was a Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Or a primate. Maybe somebody had, like, have you ever heard of skunk ape down in Florida? Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, but dude, fucking Florida's got all kinds of crazy people that have all kinds of, you know, exotic animals. You know, so there might be some dude that has like a, you know, some sort of primate as a pet, and it gets loose. You know,
or just a crazy Cajun in the bayou, man.
Yeah, didn't shave. He did. You know, I've seen some dudes that look. I mean, here in Covington, I've seen some dudes that look like the missing link.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Pretty regularly.
Right. You know, so I see some people that I kind of question the. You know what they are, so you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not even sure if they're Homo sapien. I mean, there's some crazy Actually, you know, it's funny. I was just walking down the store. I live on East 20. Well, I can't say. I don't know if I should say it. I live on the East Side. I was walking down the road to this local store, and I'm walking, and like this dog is like sticking his head outside of the window, and it barks and it scares the fucking shit out of me. And it barking causes all these other dogs to bark. And I hear this other bark, and I was like, what the? It didn't sound right. It was like right there near the store where I'm going. So I'm walking up there, and I see a dude. He's barking. He's like, arr, arr. And then he saw me, and then he said, yeah, dude, these fucking dogs are all over the goddamn neighborhood. So I just bark with them. And then he says, dude, I'd never have a dog. Them motherfuckers watch you when you eat, man. I don't trust that. I was like, yeah, man, this dude was fucked up. I don't know. And like yesterday, I haven't told my wife this. I gave him like $20. So I gave, because he was needing some money or something. I was like, here, whatever. So he's like, oh man, thanks. And then he was like, oh, he was acting all weird or something. But I was just like trying to get him away from me, and I had like, extra money. So I'm like, he said he needed money for food, or he was gonna do some job for some, you know, he said he could do a job for me. I was like, fuck it. I just had some extra money, so I just gave it to him. But,
right.
You know what I mean? Just like, yeah, whatever. You know, I thought, you know, maybe it'd be good karma for me. I don't know, whatever. But, yeah, well, you know, you got some Covington stories. You know them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, you've experienced some crazy motherfuckers on the street.
Dude, I chased these dudes when I lived on 8th Street. They busted out the window of our truck because they broke into it and there was no money or anything to steal. So they just busted the window out. And my immediate instinct was to chase them, right?
Yeah.
And my significant other at the time, she calls 911. And so it's the middle of January. There's snow and ice all over the ground. Mm-hmm. I'm wearing a pair of like thermal pants.
Yeah.
And a t-shirt and socks, not even shoes. And like I'm running after these dudes, and you know, I'm a fat guy. I don't run that fast, but my feet, like my sock keeps getting stuck to the ground,
Yeah.
right, because of the ice. And
Yeah.
I ended up with holes all through my socks, and it's like I thought I was Batman, like I'm off chasing criminals in my underwear through the city in the snow. And, I'm like, I'm having to hop from one foot to the other when the cops finally show up, and
Yeah.
because I could feel my feet freezing. You know what I mean? Like actual frostbite, like it just
Shit.
hurt. And the cop looks at me, and he's like, "Are you cold?" And I was like, "Dude, like I'm wearing a t-shirt, a pair of thermals, like in socks. Yeah, dude. There's ice all. Yes, I'm cold." And yeah, that was an interesting night. The one of the homeless guys that hung out around where we lived, and we had a lot of people in our part of the neighborhood that were pretty kind to the homeless. Like we would make big like batches of spaghetti,
Mm-hmm.
and just give it away. And the gym that I lived behind, they did a lot of homeless outreach. So there was quite a few, they felt welcome, in our area. And one of those guys fell asleep on this couch we were throwing away out in front of the house. And so I don't want to wake the guy up,
Yeah.
because if he passed out drunk, he could wake up belligerent. And so I call 911 because this guy's going to freeze to death just being there. Like he doesn't have a cover; he's just got a hoodie on.
Yeah.
And I don't like calling 911, but I called, and because I thought it was unsafe for him or for me to try to do something about it. And I tell you what was the craziest thing about that call is the 911 operator is like, "Do you think we should send the police or an ambulance?" I was like, "Is it an option? Like, does that mean everyone who's ever called on me has always asked for the police?" I was like, "Look, I don't really care who you send, but this guy is going to die.
Yeah.
Like, you got to do something about this." And the cops come, and it went fairly smooth, but you could hear the guy yelling, "Just leave me alone." And one of the cops was like, "You understand that it's snowing, right? Like, you got to get under something at least."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild down there, man. We had right there on 8th Street at the time, so we're talking.
Is that 8th and Madison, right? Or right near 8th and Madison?
Yeah, like right at Madison. Right, where it's the Lord's Gym now, but it used to be Shamrock.
Yeah. I used to go there when it was Shamrock, yeah.
Right on, yeah. We lived like right behind it.
Yeah.
And,
I think I've been to your house before because that's when I got I borrowed your drill, which I still have your drill, by the way.
Oh, right on,
yeah,
man.
still, I never gave it back to you.
I don't do that kind of work anymore, so I hope you get some use out of it.
Oh, dude, I've gotten a shit ton of use. I still got it, so yeah.
That's what tools are made for, man.
Hell yeah.
To be used. And,
yeah.
I still have my cordless, so yeah, dude, consider that to be yours and use it freely. But the alleyway behind our house is the same alleyway that was for the gym.
Yeah.
And we called it PP Alley because all the homeless dudes would pee back there. And me and my buddy Doug were back there drinking coffee once, and he just starts giggling. And I was like, "What is it, man?" He's like, "Man, I just had this thought. It's so much better to be sipping on coffee in PP Alley than it would be to be sipping on PP in Coffee Alley." Like, yeah, man, yeah.
What is that?
Like, that's a ridiculous thing to think, but I agree with you completely.
I definitely would not want to sip on PP. I mean, Coffee Alley sounds better, but I would not want to be sipping on urine.
In Coffee Alley.
Yeah, in Coffee Alley. I'd much rather be. Yeah, I get that's kind of profound because, like, no matter where you're at, if you live somewhere and it has a really bad reputation or something, if you're enjoying yourself, you're enjoying life, you're drinking what you want to drink, you're eating what you want to drink. That's what matters. But if you live somewhere it has a nice sound, but you're sipping on piss, you're eating shit, then fuck that. You know what I mean?
And Doug is not like a dumb or a weird guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what made it funnier because he's a pretty normal dude.
Yeah.
For him to come out with that, but yeah, it was so in front of our house though was a big spot to like pick up and drop off prostitutes back then.
I don't know why I laughed at that. That was probably wrong.
Well, I mean, we had. She was pregnant with my daughter, and we had her son living with us. So
yeah,
just the kind of things that go with illegal prostitution. It's not good for kids to be around, right? So I started coming out and like taking pictures and videos with my phone of dudes picking them up. And so they stopped picking them up there because it became too much of a risk, but they would still drop them off there because they could be gone by the time I got out.
I know this is kind of a weird question, but like, how do guys get into the like habit of picking up prostitutes? Like, and now this is a crazy story, real quick story, but I was driving in my van with my cousin, and my cousin, we had a friend in the back, this girl, and it was snowing really fucking bad. And I was going up to Ghetto Kroger in Covington, and I was living in Ludlow at the time, and we were coming back, and it was snowing like a fucking blizzard. And this chick, she gets right in the middle of the road, like hailing us down. So naturally, I felt, we were like, okay, I'm going to stop and pick her up. She probably needs to ride somewhere. So I picked her up, and she got in the car, and she kind of glanced in the back seat. I guess, I don't know why, and she saw that we had a girl with us. As I was driving, she said, first she said, I need you to take me 12th Street. I was like, okay, I'll take you to 12th Street. So on the way there, that's when she glanced back and saw that we had a girl in the back, and she was like, oh, take me back where you got me. I forgot my purse. I was like, okay, whatever. And on the way back, she broke down and said she was a prostitute. And she was almost like in tears, explaining she was doing it for her son or something. And then we dropped her off and left her there. But it was weird. It was like, did she think that I was a John? Right. And like, are there Johns that accidentally pick up prostitutes and then just like, well, fuck it, I guess I'll have a prostitute. I guess I picked you up.
We're all here. Might as well. Man, I had a similar experience when I was married to my ex-wife. I was on my way to a 12-step meeting up in Reading. And I'm coming off the interstate, right?
Yeah.
Or well, not the interstate. I guess it was the Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And this chick comes running out into the middle of the intersection there, like shrieking help. Right?
Yeah.
Throwing her arms up like she's running away from someone. So I throw the door open real quick. I'm like, all right, hurry up, get in. Like she gets in and she was like, I think somebody was following me. I'm like, all right, well, where are you going? She's like, well, where are you going? And the light turns green and we go through the intersection. I think there's danger afoot.
Yeah.
And we get 3 or 4 blocks, and and I'm telling her, like, well, I'm going to this 12-step meeting, and she's like, well, where is it? And I tell her where it is, and she's like, well, are you looking for a date? And I was like, you just acted like you were terrified for your life. And she was like, well, I needed you to pick me up. And I was like, well, where can I drop you off? And she was like, I'll just go wherever you're going. And I was like, all right, thinking she probably needs it.
Yeah.
And she's like, do you ever date? And I was like, I'm married. She's like, yeah, a lot of the guys that date me are married. And I was like, I think I just figured out. And she's like, oh, so you're not looking to date now? And I was like, no, I'm not. And second, like in my head, I'm like, to call it dating, like,
yeah, that's not dating, is it?
That's a misnomer. Like, maybe you feel better about it, the guy feels better about it, but that's not dating.
It's a financial transaction. It's.
She was like, well, then I need you to take me back. And we're like a half a mile from where I picked her up at this point. And I was like, no, you can just get out here. And so I pull over, and she's like, you can't honestly expect me to get out here. I was like, yeah, I can. Get the fuck out of my truck, bitch. And, yeah, she was mad as shit. She started screaming and yelling at me. And I was like, I picked you up under the pretense that you were being chased.
Yeah. But no, dude, maybe this is how prostitutes, because the same thing happened to me. Maybe that's how they get their Johns, is by like under the pretense of needing help. And then they trap him in there and they get this guy that's just horny. He's like, okay, I guess I'll fuck you and you give me money. But it's like,
I told her I was going to call the cops.
Yeah.
Like, you need to get the fuck out of my truck right now.
Wow. Well, at least the one I picked up didn't try to get with me. She was just, I don't know. Maybe she saw that we had a girl with us, and figured we didn't need one. But, dude, that is so fucked up, man. Like, what's it?
Yeah, this one, she was pushy about it. Like a salesman at Best Buy.
Jesus. A salesman at Best Buy. she was oh my God. That's like, well, you could have been a cop. What if you were like on the Vice Squad or something? You know what I mean?
I was in my 85 F-150. I don't think many undercovers drive those. So
never know. Maybe
I love that truck, man. I miss it to this day.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That maybe that's how they get all these Johns. They just push. They're real pushy. Some dude just driving down.
I think so. When I was doing remodeling and restoration work, we had a house that was on the corner of McMillan and McMicken. Right?
Yep. Oh yeah, I know where that's at.
There was this whole, I don't know what you call a flock of prostitutes, but there was like 4 of them, and I smoked cigarettes at the time, so I'm sitting out on the front steps smoking a cigarette.
Is that like a gaggle? Is that?
I don't know. It's true. So they come walking up and they were like, "Hey, we need to make some money," and I was like, "Actually, you see," and I just tore out a bunch of plaster, right?
Yeah.
And so there's this huge pile of like plaster and lath board and
there you go.
chicken wire. I was like, if you guys put this pile into this truck, I'll pay you each $10 an hour. And they were like, that's not what we were thinking. And I was like, that is what I'm offering. And
Yeah.
they were like, well, we're not really interested in that. I said, then the truth is you don't just need money. That is offering you legitimate work.
And so they turned you down.
They were pushy about it. They were like, we can just go right inside. I was like, no, we can't. No, we cannot. Like, I won't even smoke cigarettes in there. You know what I mean? I'm not bringing whatever you smell like into this place.
So I guess that's how prostitutes get jobs. It's just they're so pushy about it, like that. They get somebody that just is super hard up and just wants, I guess has some extra money. But like a person like you or me, we're not interested in that. We just, we're just trying to help somebody out, right? We're just trying to be,
Well, I knew what they were then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there was no doubt. I knew where I was.
Yeah.
The thing about in Reading, like where I was coming off of the Reagan, like I'm on the exit ramp. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm driving through downtown.
You're on the exit ramp. And God, that's like, it's like you wouldn't expect one or a gaggle of them or a troop of them to be trying to.
That time it was just one. They're on McMicken. Like, that's the host roll there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that. I knew what they were as they walked up. And I'm like chuckling to myself that they're even coming to talk to me. Like, here we go. And,
dude, it's almost like a street gang. They're you talk about violate. They're the ones violating. They're the ones like pushing their pussy on everybody. Jesus, man, that sucks. Because you're just, you know what I mean? Just like, Jesus, man.
I don't think they expect any guy to say no. But, so, like, here's another example of that. Me and a buddy of mine, who I haven't seen in years now.
Yeah.
But, we were buying some cocaine in Covington.
Yeah.
One of the strip clubs back then. We were waiting for the guy to come meet us.
Yeah.
And, we're sitting at the end of the bar, and this one of the dancers comes up. She starts taking her top off or whatever, and she looks at my buddy that's with me, and she's like, "You want to dance, sweetheart?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm good." And she just stands there, and she's like continuing to take her shirt off, and she's got like this bikini top on under it.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, I'm up next. Throw me $1 and I'll give you a dance now." And he looks at her and he goes, "I will give you $5 to button your shirt back up and go the hell away."
That's great.
They threw us off. Which,
oh my God.
I guess we deserved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
that's great. That's awesome, man. I mean, I like that you're just able to like just shut them down because they probably have all these. I don't know about all these guys, but they probably get guys that are just like, yeah, I'll give you whatever. And you're just like, boom, like, no, like, I'll give you money to get the fuck away.
We were there for drugs.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, fuck you. Yeah, get the fuck away, you fucking nasty bitch. What?
He wasn't even like incredibly unattractive or nasty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We just weren't there for that.
Yeah.
I've never really understood strip clubs anyway. Like,
I don't either.
You would never go to a restaurant where you can go in, look at the menu, place an order, have the food brought to you, look at it, smell it, pay for it, but not eat it. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to me.
You know what you just described? This is crazy. And, we've talked about Christian literature and stuff. That's the exact same way, the way you described it was C.S. Lewis did. Because C.S. Lewis talked about, he never understood porn and strip clubs. He was like, you don't go to a restaurant the same way you did. You don't go to a restaurant and they like have a steak. And the steak's like on stage and just partially, you can see part of it. And, the grease is dripping off the steak. and you could smell it, but not too much. And then just gradually you see more of it, and you're just like salivating, like, oh man, I want that fucking steak. And then, oh, boop, nope. And you're just like, you just don't do that. You know what I mean? Like a starving person isn't just like paying money to just look at a steak, like, hoping that it could just smell it, or, what's that one restaurant? They say they give you free smells. Well, have you ever seen that? John's. Yeah, Jimmy John's. It's like it's food porn. It's like you're not eating it. You're just just teasing you. Like, oh yeah, free smells.
Jimmy John's is like, that food doesn't even smell. It's like old furniture.
It's not even good smells.
I refuse to pay for Jimmy John's. I've never once eaten there.
Really?
Like, if I can make the food at my house in less than 2 minutes,
yeah,
I'm not paying somebody else to do that for me.
Yeah.
At least at Subway, they have ingredients that I typically don't have at my house, and they toast it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
Quiznos was good and toasted.
Yeah, Quiznos. Yeah, Quiznos always smelled good too. I used to have it at the mall. I wonder if is that still there, Quiznos, or?
I have no idea. I don't think so. I don't know that Quiznos is even open anymore.
Oh, really? Jeez, I'm showing my age. The only time I'd go there, I'd just go to get clothes at the mall. I'd go to get clothes at H&M and stuff, but I don't even mess around the food court. I'm an old man. I don't do that shit.
Right.
But
I'm not much older than you are. How old are you now?
Dude, I'm fucking 49. I am old. I'm almost 50.
Like 8 years on me.
Dude, I am almost 50, man. I mean, god damn, I'm an old man. Jesus. God.
Yeah, Quiznos is still open.
Wow. Quiznos, wow, that's crazy. I haven't been there in, I guess it's probably been 10 years since I've actually had Quiznos. So, I don't know. But, yeah, I guess,
I Googled Quiznos near me.
Yeah.
The closest ones are New Albany, Indiana, Vandalia, Ohio, Plainfield, Indiana.
Jesus. Dude, that's hilarious.
Belmont, Ohio.
Yeah, I'm not such a fan of it that I'm willing to drive all the way there for fucking Quiznos. You know what I mean?
No.
I'm good with something else. I'll just
The only restaurant I'm driving to Indianapolis for is Kuma's Corner, man.
What's that?
Dude, you have got to go. It's a heavy metal themed burger joint.
Oh, I'm fucking there then. Dude.
So Amber and I went in Chicago to the original one.
Yeah.
But when I say like it's metal themed, like you go in and like all the waitresses and waiters are wearing like Bathory and Emperor shirts and Celtic Frost. Like
fuck.
It's not just like entry level metal.
Yeah, it's not Skid Row or something.
Right. And all the burgers have like heavy metal names, right? And some of those are pretty pedestrian. Like there's a Led Zeppelin burger, and there's a Blackened burger after the Metallica song.
Yeah. Which actually, that's still kind of like, unless you know metal, you may not know that song Blackened. I mean, people would know fucking, Enter Sandman, but Blackened's not,
But what caught our attention, we were in Chicago, and Amber was looking up places, because when we travel for comedy, we like to eat at like independent restaurants, like stuff that we can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to go to McDonald's or something.
So we found an article about Kuma's Corner, and they had a ghost burger that had a communion wafer.
Whoa!
And, they had goat meat mixed into the beef.
Yeah.
And it had this red wine, like blood look to it. And they had already discontinued the item by the time we got there. But we both got the Slayer burger, which is a 10-ounce sirloin burger. It's not on a bun. They lay it on a bed of fries, and then they put that like Chicago-style chili with areule sausage and cherry peppers on it.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh my god,
incredible. Dude. But they play good music, dude. Like they play like Norwegian black metal.
Whoa, dude.
And while it sounds like amazingly like cool and like hip, but they have like executive chef on site.
Yeah.
And the food is incredible. It's not cheap though. For me and Amber both to get a burger and a soda, it was more than $50 after the tip.
Well, I would have to be expensive because like how many like metalheads like are gonna go there? You know what I mean? Because like how many like people that are familiar with Norwegian black metal and know shit like Emperor and bands like that and Mayhem and all, like how many bands or how many people are aware of that are going to go, dude, I want, I'm going to go to this really expensive restaurant,
Right,
and eat that,
We didn't realize how expensive it was until we got there, but we didn't care at all. Like, it was worth it.
Yeah. Well, dude.
It was so good, man. And they periodically bring back that ghost burger, and eventually I'm going to get one. But the fact that it comes with a communion wafer, I think, is awesome.
That is fucking awesome. What,
there's one in Indianapolis, man, 2 hours from here.
Oh my God, I'm totally going to go somehow. I'm definitely going to go because, fucking Ghost Burger. Because, well, I know you love Ghost because I saw you at the show. Remember when I went to the show? I was with my buddy Brian. We went to see. That was a great show, wasn't it?
It was, dude. And I saw him the next night in Columbus.
Oh, really? Dude.
I went back to back, yeah.
Oh my God, dude. That's fucking amazing.
Our buddy George, he really wanted to go to Columbus. He had to work. He was working at the jail in Kenton County at the time.
Yeah.
He had to work the night of the Taft show. So he bought tickets for the Columbus show.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, man, I bought these tickets. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I want to go. No. He's like, I'm not familiar with Columbus. Will you drive? And I was like, yeah, of course, man.
Oh, yeah.
Amber and me and George went up and saw him there. What was cool about that is that it was at a place that was more close to Bogart's. Like, there wasn't assigned seating all throughout the place.
Oh, really?
Dude, we got right up on the stage.
Oh, my God.
Speaking of Bogart's, Guar and Napalm Death are playing in November.
Whoa. Back up. What? Hold on. Say it again.
In Bogart's.
Yes.
Cincinnati.
Yes.
Guar and Napalm Death are playing in November.
Oh, let's go. Fucking,
dude.
like, I'm serious. Let's go. Like, dude,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember. Did I ever tell you I may have told you that. I used to do a show called From the Anvil. Did I ever tell you about that? Where I interviewed bands? Well, do you remember that real short dude that used to go to shows, Russell? You remember Little Russell? He used to be in bands and shit. Well, he came along with me. We interviewed Guar at Bogart's. And I had a friend of mine. She was a tattoo artist. Her name was Radish. And
Radish.
You know Radish? Okay. Well, she went with me, her and Russell, because I told them I was going to interview Guar, and they're like, yeah, I want to go. I was like, well, you guys can do the interview. So she went there, and like Odorous was doing which he's dead now, but he was doing the interview, and he kept saying all these like things about, man, I'd love to get me a Radish and all this, because he knew her name and all that. But dude, because they were doing it in characters, and we had to do it right literally before the show because they were in their makeup, and oh my God, it was so fucking amazing. And then we went to see the show, and right after it, we were soaked in blood, and fucking like Russell loved it. He was like, that was a fucking great show. It was fucking red. It was so much fun. I was in the pit, and oh my God. And then, they did Bring Back the Bomb, which I love that song. It's fucking awesome. I think they brought up George Bush. I don't know. Because they cut up George Bush during that song. And dude, it was fucking amazing. It was a great show, man. I love fucking Guar.
Beefcake sings now. Beefcake plays a different character now. I forget the name he goes by, but they tried having that girl sing, and I guess people didn't respond well, or she didn't like. But Beefcake is singing now, but he wears a different costume.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, I've seen them. I have not gotten to see Napalm Death.
I haven't either.
And then I think Madball is on that show also.
What? Fucking Madball?
Which seems like a weird fit.
That is a weird. They're hard.
Hold on, I'm gonna look up the flyer.
Dude, that'll be a sick ass show, man.
Yeah, it's November 11th.
Dude, I want to talk. Well, you know Kevin, right? ODF Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to tell him about that because he goes to every fucking show. So I mean, dude, I've been to a show in a while. He'll definitely go to that, especially with fucking Madball. Dude, all those dudes from those shows will be there.
Fit.
Yeah, because all those dudes from the hardcore scene are going to be there. You know what I mean? With Madball, fuck. Dude, that'd be great. Dude, you want to get in the pit? Even though I'm almost 50, I will fucking
You know what? I was going to
ask
you that. Do you still get in the pit?
Dude, I don't give a shit. I will still pit. I'm in pretty decent. I run every morning. I do martial arts and work out. Dude, I will totally fucking get in the pit, especially for that, man. I mean, I may not last that long, but I'll do it.
It's Guar, Madball, Napalm Death, and I Hate God.
Dude, I Hate God? For real? Oh,
yeah.
Dude.
So Guar is playing. So it's the 30th anniversary of Scumdogs of the Universe coming out.
Oh, man.
what they're playing is that album from beginning to end.
Oh my God, Scumdog's the fucking. Oh my God, dude.
Which they just re-released that on vinyl, and I got a copy of it.
That's a classic. Fucking. Oh my God, dude. Oh, I'm going, man. I got to go to that
November
fucking
11th. There's a bunch of dates, but November 11th is Bogarts.
Oh my God, fucking God. And I've never seen Napalm. I love Napalm Death. They're a great band, man.
I think the last hit that I got in was Slayer and Behemoth up in Columbus.
Yeah.
And Lamb of God. Before that, so I have some injuries, right? Like my left knee, I don't have an ACL in it. I tore it out years ago, and Amber and I went to see Despised Icon and Carnifex, Lorna Shore. Which, speaking of Lorna Shore, have you heard the new song from them? Hellfire?
I mean, I don't want to say this because it's probably wrong to do it, but I fucking downloaded like I guess I may have been their last album. I love that band. They're hard. They're kind of a mix between hardcore and black metal, and they got the keyboards and dude. They were a great band. I love them, man.
They call it blackened deathcore. Is
yes,
the name of the genre? But,
yeah. I'm gonna look it up because I just downloaded one of their albums. I just don't know which one it is.
But the newest song is called "To the Hellfire," dude. And if you've got some headphones or some speakers with like some real bass, dude, it's the most incredible thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
But we go up to see them, and I told Amber, this is before we were even married, you don't got to worry, I'm not getting in the pit.
Yeah.
Carnifex splits the room for the Wall of Death, and I'm like, hey, I lied. I'm not missing this.
Oh yeah, you'd have to get into Carnifex is great. I love fucking Carnifex. Hold on, what album? Because I have an album that has songs like "This Is Hell," "Relentless Torment," "Obsession," "Misery System," "King OV Deception." OV, like Behemoth, they love using those old, spellings. "King of Deception," "Immortal." I don't know what fucking album it is. It's great though. I like the album. I just don't. I don't know what album it is, but it's really good. And I don't. Yeah, but dude, that would be great. I love that band, man. They're really good.
The other band that was on that show was Rings of Saturn.
Yeah, they're kind of like one of those gent type bands, right? Like where they're like, it's just all just like progressive, all that kind of stuff. Which it's okay, but yeah.
When we saw Lorna Shore and Rings of Saturn, we thought they were terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I assumed that they were local bands that sold tickets to get the same time.
Oh, dude, that's pretty sad.
But I sent you a link to the new song. It only came out like 2 weeks ago.
Okay. I'll check it out.
But, dude, in my Jeep, it's incredible.
Oh, my God. I love shit like that, man. And
dude,
I like them. I don't like Rings of Saturn, but I love Lorna Shore. They're intense.
They got a new singer. It's a young guy named Will Ramos.
Yeah.
And man, he's a good singer, but like the way that the production and composition has stepped up, dude, it's incredible from beginning to end. It's like 7 minutes long. But
the song?
Yeah.
Shit. God damn, 7. That's a long song.
Incredible.
Well, see, they're kind of like newer sort of deathcore meets black metal. It's just, they're fucking amazing. Oh, speaking of this, I don't know if you've heard this band, but they're one of my favorite new bands. Have you heard Spite?
I have not, but I've seen some stuff about them in the deathcore snobs.
Dude, look them up though. Look up. Okay, I'll send you a video. This one video called "The Offering." It is so fucking intense. It's about this kid, this boy, and in the video, this boy's like, he's brought up by his goody two shoes parents, but he loses his shit. And at the end of the video, he murders them. He's like a little kid, and he stabs them to death. It's so and it's all completely satanic. Like the lyrics are like, Satan, accept my devotion, and it's basically about him contacting Satan, and Satan is telling him to kill his parents. And it's fucking great. It's so brutal. And the band is just like, it's the dark side of Satanism. It's not like Ghost where it's all sweet. Like, it's like in order to have a relationship with the devil, you have to fuck shit up. You have to you have to destroy. It's like the traditional Satanism, old school Satanism, not like the new stuff where it's like nice and blah blah blah. It's like goths that are humanist goths. I mean, it's like, dude, look them up. It's fucking. I love it, man. The Offering's great. It's just brutal as fuck. It's good shit, man. It's really good. I think you'd like it, but man,
I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, I think you'd like it, man, because it's intense. But well, dude, we've been on here almost 2 hours, man. Fucking talking shit. We talked a little bit about Bigfoot, but most of it was just awesome shit, man. Talking about your life, your addiction, your association with that really fucking company that fucks people over and and just talking about shit like that and Bitcoin currency, which I didn't. Dude, it sounds like you really know a lot of shit about crypto. I don't know shit about cryptocurrency.
I've dug into it pretty deep.
Yeah, you know a lot. And have you made like a pretty decent amount of I'm not saying decent, but I mean, have you been happy with the return you made on it?
I mean, I've made some bad decisions, but I've made some good decisions, and I'm happy with the portfolio that I have now and the way that I have it staked. It's more about setting up for the technology that's coming rather than making a quick dollar.
Now, do you think? I think companies are starting to do that. Hell, I was watching a Tim Pool video where they were talking about Sheets. You've ever heard of Sheets, which is kind of like it's like a convenience store that sells food and all that.
Yeah.
In Pennsylvania, they're evidently you can actually buy shit with Bitcoin and Dogecoin there.
Right.
So
like Crypto.com has a debit card.
Yeah.
That you load up with crypto, and it just works like a Visa or a MasterCard anywhere that accepts it. So you can spend crypto anywhere now.
Yeah, and that's what's cool. I mean, you're starting to see companies opening up to cryptocurrency, which is awesome because it's decentralized. You don't have a federally bank, basically looking over, basically regulating it. It's just deregulated, and I think it's fucking great, man. I think it's awesome.
Why that's important too, right? So, in a lot of developing nations, especially in like Africa, where there's no banking system, it becomes a lot easier for colonists, colonial governments to come in and take advantage of the people that live there when they have no value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it's hard to have a stable government when there's no stable monetary system.
Yes.
So a lot of the point to this is bring a banking system that doesn't require, the World Monetary Organization, the World Bank. They're complicit in keeping some of these African nations from having a banking system, which allows the United States and England and even Russia and China to take advantage of the people there.
Yeah.
So if those people could own their own wealth, they could own their own currency, basically.
Yeah.
Which is why El Salvador is accepting, Bitcoin as a legitimate currency now. And I think that's a big part of why there's been push from our government, to spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt about the regulatory stuff that they're going to do with crypto, is because they don't like the fact that a third world nation like El Salvador suddenly doesn't need their money.
Well, it's not just that, but they have a vested interest in keeping our current economic system functioning and a current currency function, because they're the one. It's a select few that are the ones making money. But if you decentralize it, then you're allowing people, just regular average people, be able to keep the wealth that they create, right? Instead of the wealth being sucked, from these, like in Africa, in these countries in Africa, the wealth's going to stay there, right? It's not going to be sucked out and centralized and you're allowing these people to make billions and billions of dollars off the backs of these people, these hardworking people, that it should stay there in their community. No wonder these fucking areas and communities are are devastated because you're not keeping the wealth there. You're not,
so there's a coin called Cardano, which the call sign on it is ADA.
Yeah.
It's made some noise here lately, but like one of their founders, like one of their main things is they've been talking to African countries to try to allow them to come in and be the banking institution.
Yeah.
To work with them hand in hand, asking what they need, what can they do to bring some stability, rather than the United States government that goes in there and says, what can you offer us and what do you demand and reply and to be paid for?
Yeah.
And then, the leverage from the United States government is, well, we won't give you nothing and we'll make sure nobody else does either. Which is, Cardano is trying to specifically set up a stable banking system inside of like Zimbabwe and Rwanda and these war-torn countries that nobody can ever get a foothold on stability because there's no stability on the economy of the country. And we can all act like, money doesn't make a difference. But, being poor is one thing. Being uncertain all the time is completely different.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. It reminds, there's this movie, this movie is about this Pope. It's called Saving Grace. Great movie. You ever get a chance to see it? It's from 1986, I think, or 85 or 86. But anyways, this Pope, he goes to this poor community in Italy and tries to help the community because it's a broken community. It's a soulless. It's a community that's lost its sense of self-esteem and dignity because it's just impoverished. But it's not just the poverty, it's sense of worth, And what happens is he helps them build this aqueduct system. And what the aqueduct system is going to do is going to bring water to the village where they don't have to work in the neighboring village. It's going to bring, some sort of vitality to the community. Well, he's talking, he'd left the Vatican. He's talking to his Vatican officials. And the Vatican officials are saying, sir, we can make it for them. We can build it for them. You don't have to do this. And he's like, you don't understand. This is a defeated people. They have to do it themselves. Otherwise, it's going to go into disuse. Same way in Africa. They need to do it themselves instead of us building these, these big technological warehouses that only we can maintain. They need to do things themselves because it's going to bring them self-respect. It's going to bring them dignity. And if they have their own banking system where it's not controlled by another country, they're not going to be under the thumb of another country, and they're going to have self-respect. They're going to be their own. They're going to be the ones who are building their own destiny as opposed to us doing it for them. And fuck
that's
that.
Exactly what the dude from Cardano basically says.
Yeah. It's fucking great, man. I love it, man. I
hope.
Yeah.
Charles Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Harrelson. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Now.
Dude, send me some information about that. I'd like to get into this cryptocurrency shit though, because like you're saying, it seems to be the future, and the way everything's just crumbling, anyways. I mean, our systems.
Had a bad day today, but
yeah, I'm sure. It's up and down. I mean, it's just like, it's very unstable because it's new. It doesn't have the backing of these massive institutions like our currency does, right? The American dollar has. Right. It's backed up, whether it's, just because it's, it's hollow, of course, but it's still backed up by large institutions. I mean, once you have, some stability from larger institutions backing them up, which I think eventually will happen because we're trending toward decentralization, I think we are, because people are just tired of this shit. They're tired of being under the thumb of these large, huge corporations, man. They want to do things themselves, If I have to live in a fucking van, I'll live in a van just so I can be free. Instead of being under the thumb of of these large corporations. I want to see everything. I want to see social media decentralized. I want to see hundreds and hundreds of other, social media companies instead of one. I want to see everything. Fuck Facebook, fuck Amazon, fuck. I want to see all. I want to see it decentralized. I think that's the way it's going.
Right.
You agree? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, for a long time I was a, Bernie bro, socialist and all this stuff. But what I've seen is it's not the answer is not in deregulation or in socialism where you have one. The problem is one The problem is monopolization, whether it's the government or whether it's a company, private. The best thing is to have it decentralized where people are doing things themselves. When you do something yourself, you feel a lot better about it. You know what I mean? And when you're involved in in institutions that are smaller, where you know each other, where you're working within your community, you feel better about it. You feel better about yourself. You feel better about others. You're not you're not distrustful. We have this crazy paranoia because people are distrustful of these huge institutions, and for good reason. But if the institution you're working in, everybody, you're on the board, and everybody, you're part of that process, you're going to be less distrustful because everything that's happening because you're part of it, right? But if you're not a part of it, if you're sort of disconnected from it and it's them, they're the ones doing it, and me, I'm just a cog in the wheel, then of course you're going to be distrustful. So it's natural, man. We need to get back to our roots, We need to get back to just being, just community-based people instead of fucking corporate, federal, fuck federalism, fuck, we need to get back to small everything. If you ever get a chance, read F. Shoemaker. I think you'd like him. He's the one who talks about he has a book called Small is Beautiful, and he talks about how we need to get back to having everything smaller. And I mean, obviously there are big projects that need big things, but that can be by confederation of smaller entities coming together. But ultimately everything needs to be small. So, but yeah, dude, we've been talking for 2 hours, man. It's fucking awesome. Had a lot of fun. Did you enjoy it?
I did, man. I did.
Me too, man.
And, let's get together one of these Tuesdays and go to Kuma's Corner, man. Let's do it.
Dude, I'm so fucking down. And definitely this November we're going to... Oh, and by the way, hit me up next time you do. I've been meaning... I need to see your stand-up again, man. It's been a while, and give me some dates, and I'll bring my son. I got some friends that love stand-up, and we'd love to come out, man, and see you and hang out and shoot the shit.
I will
listen to some ghosts.
For sure.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, it was great talking to you, and I will see you later. And just hit me up with those links on cryptocurrency and all that shit. And you said you sent me that link on that band, right? The new Lorna.
I'll look up if I can find the interview with the dude from Cardano. I'll send you that.
Yes, I definitely want to see that. That'd be fucking awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely down on that. But well, sir, I will talk to you later. It's great talking to you, and. I'll as soon as this is finished and up and everything, I'll send you a link to it so you can send it to.
I'll share it for sure.
Cool, awesome, sounds good. All right,
take it easy, bro.
All right, you too. Bye.